Today I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts and opinions with the upcoming big events, one of which is one of those fragment events for a champion out there who's a marksman, but more so the x10 that's coming up, and that's to do with Hatssut. That's how you pronounce their name, Hatssut. They're regarded as one of the best champions in the entire game. I have used Hatssut at times as like an ally assist. I just want to give you my thoughts as to, is it really worth summoning this week under the x10 banner for Hatssut, or do you do it under the x2 banner and focus on getting other champions and focusing on the event in general, the fragment one? Maybe by the end of this video you'll have your own ideas. You might have a better idea in general. Okay, so who is Hatssut to begin with? We go to the gallery, right down here. Easier to find. Marksman, left hand side. There we go. I don't think I can flip the screen. No, because it's facing the wrong way. But yeah, so this is Hatssut. That's how you say the name. Kind of Egyptian in a way, almost like Egyptian, the mask and everything. Interesting character design, of course. They've got long, like ponytail, quite thick. Got like the headpiece and the mask, almost like some of the other champions. I can't remember, what's that, epic one or something. In terms of the items here, is that supposed to be like I believe that's supposed to be kind of like a crossbow or something. Yeah, sharpshooter. So dual weld. As for the reviews, you see how she's rated. Very popular in the arena, and kind of a threat to come up against, more so because of their ultimate ability, which we'll get to shortly. Good for the tide. As you work your way up in the tide waves, it does become harder with time. You want to be able to have someone that can do pretty good damage as well as AoE damage when it comes to the masses. Yeah, so good arena DPS as it's rated here. Gear raid 2, pretty good. Gear raid 1. So seems reasonable in all areas of the game. What about the clan boss? Maybe not so much there. I have used Hatssut in Gear Raid 3, and that was very good, in my opinion, very good. So it just gives like a brief description. Piercing individual, savagely beautiful. This immortal sharpshooter's out for blood. Her whirling ultimate is catastrophic. And to be fair, I would agree with that, okay? So it gives the cost only 12. That's how much it cost, 12 whatever, to summon in battle, right? So if you're starting off in a mission or a gear raid, and there's a short timer countdown until the next wave of enemies come on in, use Hatssut, maybe Brienne as well, so you can deploy more people for a cheaper cost and cover more angles and pathways to prevent enemies from reaching your portal or your crystal, whatever it's called. Okay. Revival time, okay. Block says 1. Hero details. You got the option to select max level. You get the idea there. It does also alter the attack range as well, based off if you promote them to max. There's some of the stats there. I'll be honest with you, I've never actually checked that area with the characters before. I don't know if it only applies here or if it can apply to your roster as well. I'll have to check that another time. As for Awakening, you're probably not going to be getting duplicates of her. She is regarded as one of the best champions in game, one of the best heroes, so likely pretty hard to summon, right? Hard to get hold of. But, as the first one, soul drain damage plus 5%, 300 attack, ghastly stealth duration 10 seconds longer, penetration by 8%, and the burst duration by 1 second. bit of a story there as well, which maybe we can read out some other time. But I just want to give you my thoughts on this character, and, you know, as a result, is it worth going after them during this ×10, right? So they do burst damage and AoE attack. Hero doesn't have a talent. Okay, so first one, P attack. Does that mean passive? Passive attack. Attacks two times, dealing 50% damage to the target and 20% damage to one nearby enemy with each hit. Take in mind, it does say burst damage. Attacks 2 times 50% damage, so a total of 100% damage. So basically, it's like a standard attack, what some of the other characters would do, right? And you can increase the damage output by a bit. The 20% damage to one nearby enemy is, I guess, a bonus. What about this one? It gives like a little demonstration, top left corner of the screen. The range isn't great, but the radius is perfect, right? Deals damage up to 5 enemies nearby, dealing 180% AoE damage every 0.3 seconds, lasting for 3 seconds. Yeah, you can, you know, upgrade it, so you can make it last for about 4 seconds, and if you did fully awaken her, or awaken her to, what was it, 4 times, you can make it last an extra second, so it'll be like 5 seconds. To be honest, in terms of the DPS damage, 3 seconds is more than enough. If you build out Hatssut properly, right, you activate that ultimate, is going to do the job, right? More so for when you're getting surrounded by, you know, air targets coming on in, you got to take them out quick. You know, like when you're in Gear Raid 3 and you got the waves of enemies coming on in, you're getting overwhelmed and you don't want your other characters dying. You activate that ultimate and it'll be a clutch. Okay, very useful. And of course, very useful for the arena, because if you want to take out enemies as soon as possible before the opposition do, then you use this person. Arguably, Hatssut far more useful, their ultimate, compared to the likes of what was his name? Begins with an R, Rack or something. The one that I pulled recently. Okay. What else do we have there? The passive. Attack bounces to one more target with the damage of each bounce increased by 5%. Each enemy hit also suffers from defense reduction for 10 seconds. Obviously, that's very good to see. But it says increased by 5%. With the damage of each bounce increased by 5%. So how many... Is there a cap? Is there a limit to how much it can increase by? Does it increase by 5% one time? Could it increase up to 100%? I don't know. It didn't quite say. Defense reduction there. Minus 10 in defense takes effect. So basically, when you attack the enemies, you know, and with it being AoE as well, well, maybe not this one quite, but some of the other abilities. The fact that it's a passive in the background, nibbling away at the enemies, that you can reduce the defense of the enemy. That's great for the harder waves, right? Where the enemies have higher defense and stuff like that. You can break them down. Kind of like Raid Shadow Legends when you had Stagnate, right? In the early days, you stagnate, you reduce the attack, also reduce the defense. You make the enemy more vulnerable. So your characters, the rest, the damage dealers can get on with it. And this is the thing. Hatssut is a damage dealer, right? A damage dealer on top of a defense reduction passive, which is like 2 in 1, which is really good. Okay. And do we do the last one? Passive. When deployed, gains invincibility for 20 seconds. Meanwhile, each kill increases attack by 5%, stacking up to 5 times and lasting for 8 seconds. What, so 5 times 5, 25% damage or so for 20 seconds. So if you're like on, what is it, chapter 8, stage 14 or something, or just chapter 8 final boss against Calypso, right? And those like mages or witches, whatever you call them, are summoned, you bring in Hatssut, who can take them out pretty quick, and also gains invincibility for the initial stage. She's not going to die. She's going to be able to take out the enemies and be invincible at the same time in the short term, which is unique in itself, right? Very good. Description: cannot be targeted. Perfect. That's good to get things going early on at the start of a raid. Or could it apply to clan boss? In a way, kind of. I can't remember when the boss starts attacking back, if it's within a 20-second period. But still, you summon Hatssut, can be invincible for a certain amount of time. Decent range, of course, with it being a marksman. Pretty good in general. I'd say it comes down to who do you have in your team already, right? I mean, I could just show you mine very briefly, So we go to marksman, there we go. So yeah, I've got Razak, that's who I was referring to. I've got Brienne, I've got Maul, right? I've got Nyx. Out of all these, am I in a position where I can say I don't need Hatssut? I think I do need Hatssut. I do. So I'd be going for them, okay, in my position. I don't have enough solid marksmen at this moment in time. Brienne is very good, really good. Both for arena, gear raid 3, of course, and in other areas too. Just great. But I need another great hero, right? Razak is pretty good as well, but doesn't quite reach it for me. So I probably will be going for Hatssut. Will you? Just look at your roster, see who you've got first of all. Is it worthwhile? Where's the calendar thing? Is it this one here? So if we look here, starting Friday, okay? A range of different stuff happening, coinciding with the event of this person, Lunaria, who I believe is a lord, something like that, a leader. So they've got their own special abilities. They are a marksman, so you know, like 2 for 1. If you were lucky to be able to pull Hatssut and get Lunaria, then that would be great, right? Can we look for Lunaria briefly? I mean, we could do. Oops, just give me a second. So it's under marksman, right? There you go. So they're a lord, a piercer. What faction? Star piercers. Moonshroud Maven. With each dark moon. So we don't need to get too much into it, but pretty good. Decent rating. Better than Brienne, I'm not quite sure there, but you know, if I get a hold of him, I'll present it to you in the future, right? But it's probably worth going for, more so for the fact that they're a marksman and they're a lord as well. Lords are kind of hard to come by, so why not go for it here? Just like how Isolde was available beforehand. Try again. Hopefully it's free to play and it's doable. But as said, here, you see those golden like markers on the calendar? All starting on Friday. Same with Corridor of Glory, which is leveling up characters, stars. This one, earn points by doing meteorites from gear raid and artifact material raid. They're tying in line with one another. You got an invocation of spirits limited, so increases to 2 times chance and the drop rate of legendary heroes. That's its own event, okay, separate. Same with divine summons times 2, so it goes from a 6 to, is it a 6% chance to a 12%? Or it might be just a bit less, I can't remember. Was it a 5% chance, double it? Something like that, but they're their own 2 own events. And then in between, you got this one here. The drop rate of legendary heroes increases by 2 times and that of designated heroes by 10 times during the event. Oh. Okay, hold on. The drop rate of legendary heroes increases by 2 times. And the designated hero by 10 times. Oh, so... Wait. So what's the point in having 4 lots of different events if this links on with that and this links on with that? That's a bit weird, that. It's just because when they did the times 10 with Vienna and Silas, it was its own event. The chances of pulling a legendary did not increase, but if you was to pull that rarity, the chances of it being that desired character was by times 10. Whereas here, it seems like it's a times 2 and a times 10 together. That's how it's worded here, at least. You see, increases of legendary drop rates by 2 times, and the chances of a designated hero by 10 times. So just have to be on the lookout for that, okay? So really, the question of do you summon, yes or no, it seems more than likely you would summon, even if you haven't saved up, because you can work towards this free-to-play character, supposedly, if it is free-to-play, their own unique one, a lord, and you can try and have a pop at getting Hatssut, so why not do it? You know, you might as well. And let's not forget, there are some additional characters involved, right? You got this person here called Laurel, don't really care about her, I'll be honest with you. Lily, don't really care about them, but if you need a healer, well, yeah, if you need a healer like this, well, they're a mage, but they're a healer, aren't they? Let's just double check. Oh wait, restores 3% of max rage for 2 random allies. Oh, it's 2 random allies, so it's not guaranteed, that's not great. But it is within the range, so if you literally have 2 allies in a designated spot, then I guess it would work. Gains damage increase for 5 seconds every time an ally uses their ultimate. However, this effect won't trigger if the hero uses her own ultimate. Right, so maybe Laurel could work with maybe the ultimate of Lightlock, maybe? Not really used them much. As for Lily, grants attack-based healing. One of those. A healer. Yeah, straight out healer. There we go. Who else do we got? Estericist. Oh, Ezrein. I think people said Ezrein isn't that good. Not really here. Grants attack-based healing. Healer. Grants 220% attack-based healing to 1 ally and also grants them the hero's talent effect. The hero can cast Verdant, Rejuvenation and Enlightened Breath on allies beyond his attack range, albeit with the healing effects reduced. When any ally's HP drops below 30%, immediately grants 200% healing. Okay, so maybe not too bad. But I've got healers already, so I'm not really dependent. So really, it's Hatssut, perfect, should go for, right? But look who else is available. Setram, wow. So you're in a situation where you want Hatssut, and maybe you get lucky, you pull a legendary, but it turns out to be Setram. That's a win in its own right. Setram is dominant as well. Either one, they're both good, okay? Amazing range, right, when it comes to using the ultimate more so. But great range in general, just dominant, okay? Rated not so high on here, which is a bit disappointing, but they are very good. Pretty good for arena, gear raid free. We just look at deals 100% damage to 1 enemy. That doesn't sound too enticing, right? But let's look at the others. Switches to Fortress Stance, increases attack range, which is very good for 15 seconds. During a skill, constantly bombards the targets with continuous attacks that deal 25% damage and gradually increases attack speed, which is very good if you're overwhelmed with enemies. Enters and overloaded when repairing after 10 seconds. So there's a little limitation there, but it goes into repair mode, but it doesn't take that long, at least from when I've used them with the ally support, right? Increases all damage by 10%. Shielded targets take 30% extra damage. When the hero attacks one target multiple times, increases crit rate by 1% and crit damage by 2% each time for 4 seconds. The effect can stack up to 15 times. Okay, that's pretty good. Spectrum's a walking armada of destruction with a massive range, and his ultimate bombards enemies to dust. Attack has a 20% chance to launch. Fist to smash the target, dealing 140% damage and inflicting the target with a stun. Great. The fewer the targets in range, the higher the damage, for up to 20% extra damage. So, maybe in certain areas, might not do great amount of damage, but it can be made up for the ultimate, right? I'd say. I mean, just at least from using this character in game already, it's sorted me out more than enough for stages, right? I think I may have used them. Did I use them in Void? No, you can't use them in Void, no. But I used them in other areas of the game, right? And it worked. It felt good. Unique character just in general, you know, the way they look visually. Cannons on the shoulders. Just unique. Fun to use. Different. Entering the fortress stance grants buff for up to 2 allies with the highest current attack within range, deals 30% more damage to enemies. So maybe you won't be lucky to be able to pull this many copies, but you know, it's more than enough. A marksman, yes. So I think you might as well do it at the end of the day, because it coincides with one another in terms of events. You got the ×2 chance of a legendary and a ×10 chance of a designated hero. You're not guaranteed to get lucky. You might not get anything. You know, it might not go well, but there's no harm in trying at least. Maybe it works out better if you got divine summoning crystals. Unfortunately, I don't have any. I just hope that maybe I can get them from the clan boss soon or so. Sooner than later, and then pull. But you just do what you think needs to be done. If you're in a situation where you haven't got many marksmen in your team, then this is the right time, because you've got the chance of 2 good ones within the game that can definitely sort you out throughout mid-range, maybe late end gameplay. Okay, and you got a few healers as well if you require them too. So I think the event is worthwhile doing, whether you got lots of crystals or just a few diamonds, summon stones, whatever it may be. Okay, so that's just my review on Hattsut, as well as some other additional characters too, and my thoughts on the upcoming events. Let me know your thoughts down below, and just in general, good luck for tomorrow.